some years ago, researchers in the labs, they raised the question, what AI is learning when, for example, is learning to recognize objects inside digital picture? And they made a funny experiment. They did a lot of experiment checking under which condition one AI system is able to recognize well a digital picture containing a cow, an animal, a cow. And they discovered that the accuracy was super high, very high, when the cow was on a green background. But when the cow was, for example, on the beach, on a different background, AI failed. Mm-hmm. Why? For a simple reason. Because the large majority of training data, they contained examples of cows on a green background.
Hello and welcome back to Hellow Trust, the podcast of the next InfoAIcert regarding the regulation, technology and digital trust world. Today with us there is the Professor Roli. Hi Fabio.
Hi Silvio, thanks for having me.
Yeah, an important voice of the world of AI and technology in general, and University of Genoa professor and the director of Cypher Lab and the principal coordinator of an important funded project, the InfoAIcert project. So today, Fabio will help us clarify, let's say, and talk about the AI and AI security topic. So let's start right away with a very large question. What is the status? What's going on out there with the AI technology and the business and the company world? How they are using it?
Okay, thanks for the question, because it's an important question. Also for me, who I am, a person working in the field. Well, as you know, and everyone knows, some years ago, in 2022, while modern AI jumped into the room, when large language model like ChatGPT and many others have been released on the market. And for the first time in my life, but I believe in the life of many other people, we have seen a kind of AI technology that really can imitate people, in the sense that you can chat with AI, you can conversate with AI. And of course, this means that the achievements are really amazing. And it's true. So it's not something that is fake. Modern AI is really a powerful technology, able to deliver results that only 10 years ago, they were completely impossible. And the practical effect is what I said, that now we are able to conversate, to speak, to chat with AI. But on the other side, even if personally I'm very optimistic with modern AI, we should remember which are the main factors behind the success of modern AI, the success of large language model. That people in the field, experts in the field, they usually call the scaling law. Okay. That means that there is an hope, a sort of hope, or as you said, a bet, something that we can call a big short, a big bet behind modern AI. And this big bet is, we are supposing that increasing the amount of training data that we use for training modern AI models, increasing the size of large language model, for example, and finally, but very important, increasing the computational power inside the so-called data center, the performances, the accuracy of modern AI will increase. Yeah? Okay. But of course, experts in the field, they have a big question mark. This can really continue forever. We can believe that this scaling law will allow us to increase the performances of AI forever.
Okay, so the first question to me is a big performance thanks to the scaling law, and is the same or is different with the concept of accuracy or trustworthiness, and which kind of margin you see of improving, let's say?
Yes, Silvio. This is a very good question, because while we should be very clear about that, accuracy and performances, even if when they are very high, does not imply reliability, and less trust. They are disconnected
Even
things.
less.
Even less trust. That means that it's true that today modern AI the performances they can be really great, but we should not think that this means that they don't make errors first, and second, they don't think that this means that they are reliable. Why? Because we should remember very carefully that we are speaking of a technology that learns probabilistic statistical correlation from huge amount of data. But the key factor is learning probabilistic knowledge. And this is important because there is a huge impact with reliability and trustworthiness. Why? Because sometimes, given that while modern AI is learning from data, statistical correlation, if the data they are wrong, well, of course, what AI is learning is wrong. And more important, very often, this is something that in the research laboratory we experience it a lot of times, is that while the correlation, the knowledge that AI is learning after is a sort of shortcut. It's not the real meaning of the word, but it's a shortcut.
Do you have some example that you can provide us?
Yeah.
A very, very simple one, actually,
sure.
about it.
Well, I can mention a very famous example that is very famous, especially in the field, in the AI field, when it's related to the fact that some years ago, researchers in the labs, they raised the question, what AI is learning? When, for example, is learning to recognize objects inside digital picture. And they made a funny experiment. They did a lot of experiment checking under which condition one AI system is able to recognize well a digital picture containing a cow, an animal, a cow. And they discovered that the accuracy was super high, very high, when the cow was on a green background. But when the cow was, for example, on the beach, on a different background, AI failed. Why? For a simple reason. Because the large majority of training data, they contained examples of cows on a green background. And the shortcuts that AI learned was green background, this is the animal cow.
And this is the difference between a statistical thinking and a deterministical one.
Absolutely, absolutely. We should remember that, anyway, we are speaking of a probabilistic machine. This is perfect.
And it's okay.
Also for humans. Sometimes when I don't have a clear answer, I guess, exactly.
With much less performances than a large language model, of course. But so, how can we define and how should be trustworthy AI? What does it mean?
Well, this is another good question, because trustworthy AI, is a word that has been invented in Europe by the European Commission, because in Europe we want to create AI technology that citizens, they can trust. And so this word, trustworthy, means that we can trust AI, is word of trust. And so it's an umbrella concept, because means that when we say we want that AI is trustworthy, means that we want that AI is secure, we want that is robust, we want that is fair.
We want a lot of concepts.
A lot of concepts. Someone say that is a suitcase word. You can put a lot of different meanings inside. But despite of the terminology, the goal is to develop AI technology that the people and companies, they can trust. And the problem is, how can we build the trust?
Exactly. And I think we just touched an important thing, that AI security is just, let's say, a different thing, a more little one compared to trustworthy AI. So can you explain to us some example of what we are doing, what your team is researching on security regarding the AI, and what is the difference between the trustworthy and what are the point of contact and what are not?
Yeah. As I said, security of AI is just one piece of trustworthy AI. Yeah, but it's a very important piece. Why? Because it's a sort of step beyond the classical cybersecurity. Because classical cybersecurity deals with the security of software application, but designed by people coding programs with instructions. And for classical cybersecurity, we know very well how to make secure software application. But now that we are putting inside our products AI technology, we discovered that AI has new vulnerabilities, new bugs.
Because it's a new thing.
It's a new thing, and it's completely different from traditional software application, because as we said, AI is something that you create learning from data. And so there is a simple intuition behind the security of AI, that imagine that someone can corrupt the data from which AI is learning. The intuition suggests us that this is a way for attacking AI. And in the research labs, we discovered that, yes, this can happen. Yeah. For example, if you manipulate the input data, you can completely change the decision of AI.
So-called adversarial attack.
What is called adversarial attack. And if you are able, for example, because you are a malicious guy, you are able to inject inside the training data some poisoned, corrupted data, you can destroy the training phase of AI.
So new techniques, we need the new tools in a certain
We need
way.
definitely new tools. And we also need, I would say, a new cybersecurity culture. Because
it's a new branch. Completely new.
Completely new. And so also for cybersecurity expert, they need a new education.
So this from the technological point of view, and we should add to try to reach the concept of trustworthiness, also, let's say, a compliancy layer, let's say, I imagine.
That is true, because, any complicated technology problem cannot be completely solved at the technology level. We need, even if I'm not a lawyer, but I think that regulation is important. Regulation is important. And so trustworthy AI is something that we can reach, combining, the advancement of technology, the advancement of regulation, as we are trying to do with the InfoAIcert project, developing something that can provide as a service the compliance of a given AI system, taking into account the regulations, taking into account standards, and taking into account the tools that has been recently developed in research laboratories.
Yes, perfect. Because my last question was exactly about this. What is InfoAIcert and what you are doing, your team is doing on this project?
Well, let me say that, of course, InfoAIcert is an acronym, and it's an acronym for a project, and the long title of the project is Development of a Platform for Compliance of AI System under the European AI Act. So, in short, let's say the challenge of this project is bringing out from research laboratory the knowledge, the tool that has been developed for AI security and trustworthy AI over the last 10 years and putting inside an industrial platform. Yeah. Okay. Also exploiting the expertise of Tinexta InfoAIcert company, yeah, so that we can provide compliance of AI system as a service, yeah, also for, let's say, small and medium companies. Okay. That, of course, they don't have a direct access to that advanced knowledge that is required for certifying the compliance to the European AI Act.
So even a democratic, let's say, project.
Yeah, there is also a flavor of that kind. Well, one of the things that our colleagues and friends of Tinexta InfoAIcert at the beginning we discussed is, well, this project, one of the ambition is to democratize the access to the compliance of AI system.
Yeah, because also the freeability of these topics that can be quite complex and quite expensive to research.
Absolutely, yes.
To manage.
Yeah.
It's a barrier itself in a certain way, especially for a lot of small medium enterprises that we have in Italy or in Europe in general, generally speaking.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that without this kind of platform technology, will be really very, very hard for small and medium companies to get the so-called CE mark, the certification. Because it's very clear that the requirement, to satisfy the requirement for AI compliance, require that you have a high level of expertise, a high level of knowledge that usually is outside the possibility of not only in Italy, but also in Europe.
Most of the enterprises.
Yeah, the most of enterprises, excluding, of course, big tech.
Nevertheless, everyone and every company have to comply with the regulation and the security standards that they're coming.
Yeah, right? But let me say that especially outside of Europe, people say, well, but this is a problem that you in Europe, you want to regulate everything.
Yeah, you want to address.
Yeah, you want to address regulation. But I think that anyway, making a progress along this way, it's not also good to be compliant with the regulation. It's also good to gain a competitive advantage. Because, as in many other fields, if you can show to your customer that they can trust the product, it's not a matter of regulation.
It's a matter of trust.
It's a matter of trust.
And the competitivity is based on trust.
It's based on trust. Yeah.
So I hope that your team will reach soon this goal of reliability to supply to the market, to all of us, this kind of tool, a reliable and democratical tool, let's say. And thank you, Professor Roli, for enlightening us regarding this topic. And thank you to all of viewers. Put please a follow on our channel, YouTube and LinkedIn, and to the next episode of Hellow Trust. Thank you.